huge trailer drop. What were some of the things that you liked through the trailer?
Yeah, it was definitely time to drop some NBA 2K16 presentation goodness. I mean, where do I start, right? Like, let's start right from the very beginning of the trailer. The court projections, that little reference at the very, very beginning of the video. A few people even like missed that. I was like, oh, look at that! Look at how cool that is. Obviously, you guys will see more videos in terms of how what the intros and like all of that stuff looks like. But we wanted to give you a little taste. From there, wow, I don't even know. Like the features of our cover athletes, the mouth guard technology was brought back again. I think the things that I found most exciting, besides the very end, which we'll get to eventually, but the Draymond photobomb is pretty funny.
Yep.
The first time I saw that in the initial cut, I was like, that is hilarious. Like, we burst out laughing the first time we saw that. What are some of the other things? God, it was really great.
To me, it comes down to one thing, really, and that's the thumbnail of the video. That's that fourth quarter Mamba face.
Where's my jar?
When Kobe Bryant is doing what Kobe Bryant has done for 19 years in the league, and you get that Kobe face going. But just looking at the new and improved Kobe and all these new and improved player models, the body scanning obviously shows through. There's so much. I'm getting caught up in my words here, but there's just so much to talk about within the trailer. But really, the body differentiation, I think that's something that truly is a next generation leap when it comes to not only basketball games, but sports games and games in general.
Last year it felt like there were two different types of players in our game. There was the bulky, strong guy, and then there was the scrawny little
And then there was a
dude.
height differentiation, right? So it's like, you know, what is the next step to make this make sense? And that's body scanning, right? And like face scanning, when we introduced that with NBA 2K14, the tremendous developers next door have been working so hard to get, you know, so many players body scanned. And, you know, it really does make a difference. You saw that in the trailer. A lot of people were doing breakdowns of the trailer. You're seeing the differentiation in, like, a player like, you know, Isaiah Thomas or a Chris Paul to somebody like a Rajon Rondo, right? You see those differences. It's not just, like, the same height and you kind of have the same body, but, like, that's also going to play out through the gameplay, which, by the way, we're going to be getting into gameplay very soon. So we're excited to talk about that. I know the developers, the gameplay developers, have been chomping at the bit
for sure.
Look at that.
That is weird.
Is that a jinx?
That's weird.
That's weird. But, you know, we're really excited for all this stuff, and, you know, you get to see a lot in that trailer.
Yeah, I mean, the just things that you saw on the players' arms, like between flexing, between the veins, between kind of like the way that when an elbow bends, like you see the wrinkles. I mean,
the wrinkles
some of the
in
details is just like,
their fingers, right? Like, you got all the wrinkles. That's the amazing thing about, like, the body scanning is, like, the attention to detail on small things. No one... Maybe Operation Sports. No one on planet Earth is like, hey, you know what NBA 2K needs? Elbow wrinkles.
Elbow wrinkles.
I need the elbow wrinkles to start wrinkling, like when the, you know, elbow wrinkles next gen. But you know, no one was talking about that. But that's kind of like the attention to detail that we try to put in our games, right? And like really try to do. And I think a lot of people were, you know, I saw that discussion. I saw there was some butt scanning discussions today that I saw.
I was like, what was that?
There's a lot of interesting discussions that come out of these shows.
Butt scanning.
But the one thing that I think really amazes me, and I know everybody's feeling really, really you know, happy about, it's kind of amazing to think about. Within 24 hours, over 3.1 million video views between the three platforms of this trailer.
And it's just gone up from there.
Seriously, thank you to you guys, the best fans out there. You guys are so passionate and very vocal. And you know, the one thing that I love about it here is that our developers listen, we're listening, and we're always trying to make this experience every single year the best experience for you guys.
So I want to say two things. To your second point about the developers, you know, like, they spend a lot of time looking and share. Like I saw all of the developers posted on their own Facebook pages, right, and talking about how excited they were for all this summer's worth of hard work. Hard work doesn't even start to explain it. I mean, those guys have been grinding, but just to have, you know, that kind of moment. But now we have to look ahead, right? And you were talking about like the details, like the elbow wrinkles and all that stuff. But there's so much other stuff in the game that we have to. We're always working on balance and like bringing on the new technologies, and we don't lose sight of the fact that gameplay is such a critical piece of this thing. So now it's really, what do we improve in terms of gameplay, and that's definitely the next thing that we're going to be looking to discuss in the coming days.
And two things, a couple things I want to talk about gameplay. If you're not in Operation Sports or like somebody that's following very, very closely, there's a couple cool things that Mike Wang discussed on Operation Sports, which is he has the ability to go in and tune like shooting sliders, both online and offline, for anything in our game, right? So the developers, the engineers work together to make this happen. And to me, that's really big because when you start talking about balancing, right, a lot of people reference patch 4 a lot, and I think we learned a lot from patch 4 that we're obviously implementing the changes into NBA 2K16, as you guys will hear. And I get a lot of questions that are very patch 4 centric related, and I can't wait to really start talking gameplay and to hear about not only the new stuff we've done, but also looking at addressing some of the stuff that the community's had feedback on and been very vocal about. And I'm very excited to talk about those things. But I think at the very core, it's a very interesting thing, something we've never had before, to be able to go in without a patch and actually tinker with things that maybe somebody.
You would have to wait such a long time
Right.
from patch to patch, and being able to address that on the fly is going to bring
that's a
big change.
gameplay specific thing, which I'm really excited about. Just from a fan of like competitive and balancing, right? Like that's an important thing, and we are not losing sight of that. Absolutely not losing sight of that, especially with everything we're doing. You don't introduce a mode like Pro-Am without.
Sorry.
Did you get off the plane? You don't start to introduce a mode like Pro-Am if unless you're ready to go and get in that competitive ground. So I'm very excited about that. And the other thing that I want to talk about real quickly, last week we talked about ratings. Stoff, I almost called him 2K Stoff. 2K Stoff over on Operation Sports, shout out to OS, released a blog and kind of like an in-depth about the philosophies of rating changes. So I highly recommend that if you guys tune into last week's broadcast or are interested about ratings, to go read that.
Yeah, we addressed it a little bit on the broadcast, and it's hard to explain that stuff on the fly, so we didn't do the world's best job. I take a little bit of credit for that. I actually mentioned that, who did I say? It was Tristan Thompson was one of the best blockers. I meant Rudy Gobert. I was actually talking about Rudy Gobert the sentence before. Tristan Thompson obviously is a great rebounder. And Stoff references that, right? Like Dennis Rodman is an all-time great rebounder. So now it's about comparing to Hall of Fame, and that's how we took a different look at the ratings. And it's all in an attempt to kind of cut the cheese, right? Like make sure that some of the cheese that has plagued our games in the past, quote unquote cheese, has been a direct result of the ratings, right? So that's why we took a different look, and it's going to be worlds apart. So speaking of ratings, pretty cool on Saturday, right? Like having all of these guys. So Kevin Durant released, if you guys haven't seen it, go check out his Twitter account. He released his rating. 91 in the game. I know a lot of people were like, oh my God, he was the MVP a year and a half ago. You guys have gone and turned on your cover athlete. I love that tweet. He's my favorite player in the NBA, but whatever. I've turned on him. He obviously he had a pretty injury-plagued season last year, so I think 91's right. We did the same thing with Derrick Rose after he was our cover athlete, and I think we had him at an 89.
Let's not kid ourselves. KD is bound to get his rating up.
Oh, for sure.
Easily, he's going to come in.
Definitely.
I mean, if there's a player that's going to be on fire this season, it's going to be Kevin Durant.
Yeah, he'll have a chip. He'll have a chip on his shoulder. And how cool is it that he released his rating? Basically first, right?
Yeah,
so
he was excited to get that.
One of the 90s, one of the 6 90s that are in NBA 2K16, so we'll get to revealing the other ones in due time. But he wasn't the only one. Then Saturday, a bunch of guys released ratings. Of course, we asked NBA players to ask for their rating, and we got a ton of requests. We have another batch going out very, very shortly, but Andre Drummond, who else did it? Isaiah Thomas. Rudy Gobert, a bunch of players.
The really cool thing too about the ratings is we want to get in there and release screenshots of these guys, because it's cool to be like, oh, I'm a 91, right?
Yeah.
But it's also really cool for the fans to see their guys, right? And obviously, with the new winning trailer out there, you get a good look at a lot of the guys in the league. But there are players like rookies, which are still being implemented, by the way. So we're going to be getting to rookies. And
a lot of rookies asked, and the face and body scan session obviously happened around Rookie Symposium, so we're still most of the guys are in there, but we want to make sure that everybody's in there and at their highest standard before we put them out there. And obviously by the time the game releases, they absolutely will be. But there's a bunch of guys that we're going to be putting out screens for in the next few days. So should be very cool. Saturday was awesome. I mean, having those
It
guys
was really cool.
Having those guys put them out there, like I sent them all, and all of a sudden, like all of them started putting them out.
Talking about body
cool.
scans, one topic of conversation that came from these screens that I saw a lot of on Twitter and Facebook and message forums and Reddits and NeoGAFs and all that good stuff. Because I should be not looking at stuff, but you know me, I'm always looking at everything. Too much. But I saw a lot of discussion around tattoos, and obviously body scanning. It goes from, well, like I said, last generation was art, right? Like our developers did a phenomenal job of creating these players in art. Now it's photorealism, right? You step into the next generation of things. I think back to the 2K14 LeBron James. Remember when he's talking to Video Game James, talking to himself, and you're like, whoa, this is truly next generation of graphics. The next step for the level of authenticity that we strive to reach is the tattoos, right? Really getting in there, doing a body scan not only allows us to get the body frames and kind of what these players look and feel and play like, but then also visually represented, you get, you know, a 100% accuracy on the tattoos. And I think that's something that you saw in the Isaiah Thomas screenshot that everybody was talking about. You know?
And I mean, he was one of the first guys that we went out with a lot of tattoos on his body. There's a bunch of guys like that. I mean, and you know, as those screens come out, you'll see. But also, that kind of leads to what can you do with tattoos yourselves in the game. So
a lot of questions around that as well.
We're gonna have a piece on that, you know, in the coming days as well. So pretty exciting there. What did I want to reference? Real quick, before we continue talking about 16, I want to talk about 15 real quick. So, Pink Diamonds, we're going to release one for Kevin Durant in the next few minutes. But, very cool, this is your last opportunity to get each of the Pink Diamonds on 2K15 as we obviously move towards 2K16.
That's right.
Every day this week, we're going to release one guy. And we'll let you know on our Twitter accounts what guy that is, what time to expect it, and of course on NBA 2K the locker code will be released every single day between now and when we run out of guys. So Kevin Durant today, we'll see who's tomorrow, and then so on and so forth every single day.
That's right. So this is kind of like the final hurrah for Pink Diamonds. And you know, looking back at NBA 2K15, Pink Diamonds, pros and cons, we've heard all the feedback, both good and bad, about what people like, what they don't like, but we figured this is going to be it. This is going to be the last run at Pink Diamonds for NBA 2K15 as we continue to ramp up NBA 2K16 news. And in case you missed it, or you're new to the broadcast, welcome, of course. NBA 2K16 My Team news that's out there. We did talk a bit about, you know, some My Team news involving the pre-order. And I kind of want to revisit that for just a moment.
Yeah,
so
while you do that, I'm going to put out the locker code.
So they're not going to listen to me. They're going to be typing right now. But NBA 2K16 My Team, of course, we introduced the Michael Jordan Special Edition, and in that you get a moment card that is exclusive to that special edition, and that brought us to My Team news. So for NBA 2K16, to recap, the stuff that we have talked about, there's going to be 5 card classes this year: bronze, silver, gold, amethyst, and diamonds. So no Pink Diamonds are coming next year. Locker codes will be returning. We're going to be talking about that when we start talking about My Team in the near future. But with these 5 card classes, you can have various themes that are applied to these 5 cards. And the card classes are all based upon rating, right? So X rating to Y rating will put you at a bronze. You know, X rating to Y rating will put you at a silver and gold, amethyst, and diamond, and so on and so forth.
By the way, this is the biggest batch of Pink Diamond.
Yes, big batch. Before you tweet
that
out,
I'm sure they're going to go in like 12 seconds.
Yes.
But it is what it is.
So anyway, before you press that send button, let me get through this.
Sure.
So you have these 5 card classes, and you can have various themes applied. So we've announced 2 themes. One is a green theme. There's no emerald cards in NBA 2K16, like I mentioned. Bronze, silver, gold, amethyst, diamond. That's the 5 card classes, and that will be the only 5 card classes in NBA 2K16. But the themes can be applied, and there will be various themes, and we've announced 2 of them. One is the dynamic ratings cards, and the way that dynamics ratings cards work in My Team in NBA 2K16 is every time a roster update is pushed out, whatever is associated with that roster update also hits the dynamic rating cards. So, for example, the Black Mamba, whatever he starts at, we should get his rating out there. I should put it out there because I know everybody's dying to hear what Kobe's rating is. It's going to be a nice topic of conversation. They do care, my friend. When you have Kobe's rating, for example, if he plays worse or plays well, he can fluctuate on the dynamic rating card. So when a roster update goes out and it affects Kobe Bryant's ratings, accessories, anything that's involved in the roster update, that will also be reflected in the dynamic rating card. Now let's say somebody gets hurt, right? I have my Kevin Durant card and he gets hurt and his dynamic rating card does whatever it's going to do, and we'll be talking about injuries and dynamic rating cards when we talk about my team. The original card, the baseline card, will also be there. So in day one, anytime there's a player in the NBA, you're going to have his base roster card, which will have his default day one stats that will not fluctuate, but then you have the ability to get a dynamic rating card, and those will fluctuate up and down based on whatever's happening, right? So if you have a player like Kevin Durant, all of a sudden his rating's dropping because he got hurt last season or whatever the case may be with how that works, you always have that base card too. So it does give these cards some interesting value when injuries happen or somebody's out for a certain amount of time or somebody's just playing poorly, right? Maybe a goal, the Roy Hibbert effect, right?
Yes.
I hate to use my boy Roy Hibbert because he's a Laker now.
No, he's a Laker.
He's gonna be on the rise this season, but remember a couple seasons ago where he went completely down? You're talking maybe a gold drop all the way to a bronze drop, right? With
I said he should have got an amber card.
So maybe if you got that, that day one Roy Hibbert card, that one might be better that season than a dynamic rating card that was going down or declining. So that's one theme. The other theme is called Moments cards, and these will be represented by a purple background. And Moments cards are for the upcoming NBA season. Anytime a big moment happens, so we reference like the Hassan Whiteside triple double or the 55,
Kyrie Irving,
the double nickel Kyrie performance, right? When those happen, we want to really create those moments, and we'll have some cards which
plays really well on the social media, obviously.
Absolutely, and very topical, right? So when those happen, we're going to immediately look to turn those cards around and get those out to you guys in numerous ways, which we'll be getting into how those will be released.
I'm sure some sort of locker codes system will be involved there. So
absolutely, and unlike Pink Diamonds, where I've said this before, when we sat down with the team and we looked at everything and all the feedback, we definitely, there were a lot of pros to Pink Diamonds, but I think when they helped the individual user, they didn't help the My Team community as a whole. So we're looking, how can we help that community as a whole? So a lot of moving parts. There's so much to talk about with this game, and we really haven't gotten into too many details outside of my league and my GM. And you guys kind of have an overview of what 2K Pro Am is going to be.
Can I give away some locker codes now?
Yeah, now Ronnie can give away locker codes.
Thank you.
I'm fired up, baby. My team.
Fired up. So
here they come.
We're about to drop them
on at NBA 2K. So drop in like a minute.
At NBA 2K.
So it gives people a chance to get over there.
I'll just do it blindly.
Don't hit plus. The rage.
Yes.
The rage at the end of the plus.
So yeah, I'll drop it momentarily.
Yes.
Anything else about the pre-order incentive? MJ Special Edition.
What else do you get in the MJ Special Edition?
Oh my God! It's the poster.
Yes.
Which, by the way, we saw mocks of that thing. So sick, like so nice. I wish it came in a frame so I could just put it up on my wall.
You could buy a frame.
You could definitely buy a frame.
You could do whatever you want with the poster.
I plan on buying a frame. A mini Fathead decal, which is pretty cool. You talked about the My Team content, 30,000 VC.
That's going to be nice, by the way.
Oh yeah, for sure. Get you started. The MJ special content, jersey, shirt, shoes. Thank you. I was like, oh yeah.
What kicks, Mr. Kickmaster? My
What am I wearing today?
Ronnie majored in Kicksology, so I want to understand what shoes are we going to be getting today. Well, what are you wearing today? Then what are you going to be getting? I'm wearing Vans, so it's boring.
I'm wearing Kobe 10.
Troy has
Chinese
on some nice
New Year.
Kobe's.
I'm about to tweet. I tweeted.
Okay. Favorite flate.
Cool. Favorite flate. What was I gonna say? The Jordan 2Ks, which are modeled after Jordan 14s.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
Very cool. And obviously, we're really excited. And you can still get out there and pre-order the MJ Special Edition. So I would highly recommend
I love that cover, even.
The best thing, though, is you're not going to have to wait till the 29th to play our game on launch. If you pre-order 4 days early, you have access to the full game.
Do you know when you get it? A month from today.
That's right.
It's a month away.
We are 1 month away. You know what else that means?
Early tip-off weekend. That Friday is a month.
That we're going to be ramping up and more information. You guys wanting more information? You guys are about to get it.
Yeah.
And we're very excited to talk about a lot, and there is a lot to talk about.
Let's look back at the last week a little bit more, though. So obviously we talked about Monday and winning. We talked about that. There were some other cool things that we announced. You talked about the My League, My GM blog.
Yes.
We also announced 2 legendary teams.
That's right.
The 01 Lakers, let's move on, and the 03-04 Pistons, which so many people...
That was probably the most requested team that I've seen.
Yeah, of the last 15
Easily.
years.
You know, what can I say? I mean, they were a great team. They beat my Lakers. Can I just say a quick story about that? I graduated high school. My dog of like 13 years died that day, and the Lakers got beat in the NBA Finals. That was like the most tragic day of my life. I was wrecked. But they were a phenomenal team, and you know what? I'm glad they're coming to NBA 2K because they are a very
They deserve to be there.
Absolutely. But you know what's
sure.
even better than that team is a team that went 15-1 in the playoffs. The best, most winning playoff percentage team in NBA history, and that is the 2000-2001 Los Angeles Lakers.
And now let's move on to the next topic. No, I'm just
We'll
kidding.
have 2
Of
new
course,
teams.
those two teams are super dominant.
Yes.
They should be a lot of fun to play with. We actually were messing around in 16, and
We had a game with them.
You were playing the Lakers,
Yes.
and I was actually playing the 07-08 Rockets.
Houston Rockets.
Yeah,
Yao and Tracy and Gabe.
That team is brutal.
I gotta say,
I'm not going to lose for that team this year.
we've had a good amount of battles in the past in NBA 2K, and obviously we can't tell you too much about 2K16, but what some of the stuff that we saw from like a young Kobe and Tracy that year, some of the jams.
Yeah.
I mean,
I put up a very Tracy line, by the way.
There were some times where you
What
and
did I
I,
have? 29, 11, and 5.
You
and
had
of
it
course,
very
you had
different.
like 49 with Kobe.
I mean, you know,
Yeah. What else is new?
that was like prime version #1 Kobe. But anyway,
That was
the point
Thursday.
is, the teams are amazing, though.
Yep, definitely.
You know, and I think you guys are going to be really excited to see how ratings are with historic players as well.
Yep. So we announced the 2 this past Thursday.
Yes.
We have another 2 this Thursday.
Yes.
One team you already know about. It's the last team that was announced by 2KTV months ago. But there's another team that will be announced that nobody knows about, which is
like
probably one of the most dominant teams, in my opinion, offensively dominant teams in the past 15 years. So that's going to be very exciting. And then we're going to get away a little bit from our Thursday team next week because you and I are going to be in Las Vegas
Yes.
on Tuesday and Wednesday for GameStop Consumer Manager Show. If you guys are attending,
GameStop Expo.
please stop by. We're always there. I know some GameStop people watch our show, so
More excitingly, you're going to have a demo of NBA 2K16
Yep.
if you are coming in. We're
I
going
think
to
it'll
be
be
there
the first consumer U.S. hands-on.
I believe so, yeah.
So excited for that. But on the broadcast, which is Wednesday, we'll be announcing 2 more teams that week as well. And those will be
things,
new
yeah.
teams. Nobody will have heard of those 2.
Right, so we're going to be recapping some of those historic teams on the broadcast and announcing 2 brand new teams exclusively to
Instead
the
of
broadcast.
Thursday, we'll be announcing them Wednesday on the broadcast.
Yep, so that'll be pretty fun, and I'm excited for those 2 teams too. I
Yep.
mean, you know, so much is made into like all the teams we've had in the past, all the current players, but then looking forward to like all these new teams that we're adding in. It's just going to add so much levels to my team, to modes like Team Up, All-Star Team Up, right? Quick Match, you know.
My League, My GM.
All this stuff and bringing in more and more historic players is just, it's a really cool thing to see, and I'm excited to share more information with you guys.
Definitely. So I think after this Thursday, we'll only have 4 more teams left to announce.
Something like that, yeah.
Is it 4 or 6?
I think it might be.
I think it's 4.
I think it's 4. After this Thursday,
I think we'll have announced 8 by the end of this.
4 more.
8 by the end of this week.
Yeah.
So yeah, 4 more to go. 2 next week, and then 2 the following week. And then you never know if there's going to be another surprise, which will, yeah. Anyway,
all of them.
They're very excited about that. Let's see. So Friday, so Thursday we announced the Legend teams.
Yes.
Friday, something very cool was announced. Something I'm really excited about is the Spike Lee casting call.
Yes.
So Spike put out this video on Friday asking you guys if you wanted to win a chance to join us at the NBA 2K16 launch party. There's been a lot of legends about how awesome our launch party is. I've been to the last 7, 8, whatever it is.
They're fun.
They are a lot of fun, and the who's who of NBA and celebrities and all that are at our party. So this is the first time, if I recollect, that a fan can join us at this launch event. So
yes.
pretty simple too. I've seen a lot of submissions, but basically You have 30 seconds to release a video of an audition.
Yes.
There's a certain line. Go check out Spike's video or one of our blogs. I wrote a blog about it on Friday as well.
Such the poet.
Yes, exactly. It's a cool part of a script that he wants you to read, and you have the opportunity, if you do a really good job, to be picked by him to be one of the 5 finalists, and those 5 finalists will get voted on by you guys. I think it starts end of next week or maybe the week after, where you guys will vote on the top 5, the 5 that Spike likes, and then one of those 5 is going to the 2K launch party in New York.
It's very cool, and it's been exciting to kind of see all the entries from you guys.
Yeah, some of them have been really great.
Some of them have been awesome. It's fun to kind of look at those and see everybody that's participating, because we encourage that, right? Like, this is a great opportunity for you, and there's some cool things around that that could happen.
And the funny thing is, if it takes a couple extra steps, but if you win, you also have the opportunity to be the face of the event. So instead of my mug, we're going to have somebody actually get face scanned, and when we premiere everything, premiere Living the Dream, it could be you that gets to star in it. So it's pretty awesome. It's a very, very cool thing.
Assuming the role of freak.
Yeah. So definitely want to do that if you guys are interested in going to the launch party, or if you have some acting chops, and even if you don't, like, why not give it a shot? I saw today a couple influencers tried it, so that's cool. But it'll be for anyone. I mean, Spike doesn't know if you're an influencer or not for the most part, so
he's looking for the role.
He's just looking for the best actors. So the guys that are most charismatic, most creative,
it's
most
pretty
enthusiastic.
Cool. But again, anybody can win, right?
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of this contest. So highly recommend you checking that out, checking out some of the details around that. And speaking of Living the Dream, there was a nice ending to that winning trailer. Without saying too much, Ronnie 2K, some of the reactions to the end of that trailer.
Everybody was like thirsty for more.
Everybody on the streets talking.
The thirst was real. Yeah, no, like
everybody's talking.
The end of that of winning definitely, got people excited, but raised some more questions. What does it all mean? So it should be really exciting to show you guys the next step of that thing, and obviously that's coming soon. We're a month away. I mean, a month from today will be the kickoff of early tip-off weekend. People will be leaving work on Friday to go play NBA 2K16.
I said it to you guys. I think I said it last week on the broadcast. Hope it's said last week on the broadcast. There's times in gaming, we're all here because we enjoy games. Now, we've had something impact us, like as gamers, right, and as people that enjoy this medium of entertainment, that resonates with you and kind of stays with you. I feel that again with my career this year. There's something truly special to it this year through the lens of NBA 2K and what we're building. Not just Spike Lee's influx of his storytelling, obviously writing, producing, and directing the storyline for my career, but what that is being attached onto, which is this my career, right, and what we are building, and we're going to be getting into that in the next couple weeks. I'm
really excited about that.
Stage 5 about it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I mean,
to start sharing info about
we
that.
built this whole storyline around our 3 cover athletes, and again, if you guys haven't seen the player films, Beyond the Shadows,
yes,
Belief,
yes,
or is it Believing? God, I've wrote that thing so many times. It's Believe. Sorry, I'm like, what? And The Rise, of course. Anthony Davis's. All 3 definitely recommend checking those out. They're really good. And
which one did you guys like? One thing that was always interesting to me is the narrative of basketball and the NBA. Right, it's what we watch for. It's the drama, like Spike would say. Right, it's what we kind of defines the game. Which one was your favorite, I guess, as I'm asking? And also, you guys, let us know what you guys thought. Which one was your favorite? It's always interesting to see 3 completely different stories by 3 different kind of underdogs, if you will. And, there's so many interesting angles, because you look back at, like, the Warriors beating the Rockets in the Western Conference Finals last season, right? That's where Curry was a couple years ago. They couldn't get out of the second round, I believe it was.
They had to take
over
that step
and over and over, right?
Yeah.
You kind of have to learn how to lose before you learn how to win, which is kind of a one of those thematical things that happens for teams.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but Steph, for example, his rookie year, they won 23 games.
Yeah.
People forget that.
Yeah.
I mean, that Warriors team was really bad.
But I mean, my point is they're different stages of their career, right? Like Anthony Davis, arguably the best big man in the game, right? James Harden.
I don't think there's an argument. I think he is the best big man in the game.
You know
already.
what I'm saying? People always. I have to keep it subjective, but like easily, right there, you can make an argument for the best player. James Harden. Make another argument, right? What he did last year was incredible, and a lot of what he did last year, and not only just last year, but the story of being with the Thunder and being the sixth man, getting the trade that probably still hurts your heart as a Thunder's fan.
That team
going on and continuing to become
how good would that
not
team
only like a franchise cornerstone of the Houston Rockets, but like
why did they amnesty Kendrick Perkins? Okay, I'm gonna get way off topic, so let's not do this. Anyway,
I don't know.
I could see how a lot of people would like Steph's because of the ramp, right?
Right.
Like you go. The underdog that it came to achieve so much greatness and then won an MVP and a championship in the same year. I mean, who had a better year than Stephen Curry this year? I don't think anybody in this world did, except maybe The Rock, of course.
The Rock.
But my favorite piece, since you asked, was James Harden's. I just think I just like the vibe of that piece. And
it was very cool. Straight out of Compton.
And the footage of him in high school and college is like so cool. Like him,
What a journey.
Can you dig it and like all that stuff? Yeah, just very, very cool.
What a cool journey.
And then Davis was awesome, but that kid was like he was going to be a stud the whole time. You saw that nasty dunk on that kid.
Rest in peace.
Yeah,
to whoever that was. I mean, if I see a guy running like when I used to play and I knew somebody was very much more athletic than me and that could probably jump 4 times as high as me and that was throwing down alley-oops in the warm-up line, you know what I did? I see him coming, I'm just gonna live another day. Just get out of the way. I see Anthony Davis coming towards me. You're gonna you're gonna get dunked on and completely facialized, and that was dirty, and that was awesome to see in that video piece. But 3 phenomenal players and 3 very different kind of stages, their journeys. It's interesting to see, and it kind of brings me back to my point about the end of the winning trailer. Interesting decisions that you have to make on your way up to the NBA, to greatness. Anything you do in life, decisions matter. Decisions are very impactful on your life, and I think it's going to be represented, as you guys saw, that at the winning trailer in some very interesting ways this year that you've never kind of experienced before.
Yep. A lot of very cool things in the winning trailer, and but just really the first look at our game on an extended level.
Mm-hmm. And now, for those people, what about gameplay? What are you guys doing with gameplay?
Yeah.
It looks pretty.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty.
Yeah.
You're giving us everything we want. But
The funny thing about that we have a ramp as well, right?
Yeah.
Like, we wanted to show off what the game looks like on the whole kind of broad top level. Now we know that we anticipate that you guys are going to ask, now tell us about gameplay. That's next, and we're really excited about all the changes that we made.
We have a lot to talk about.
There were a lot of really great. I mean, the gameplay team is so talented.
Yeah.
Obviously, Scott joined us fully this year, but Mike Wang's a visionary. And Zach and Jerson, all the guys, Jesse, all
Czar.
of them. So Czar, definitely.
You want to talk basketball X's and O's? Shout out to the Czar Sim Nation out there.
Yeah.
It's always awesome to talk behind the scenes.
So a lot of really good minds that are excited. They were like, oh man,
shout out to
let's get out and but they're ready to talk gameplay.
And speaking of teams, like I think some people like misconstrue like the gameplay team doesn't touch the art, right? Like they're not working on art. Art's working on art, right? Modes
you want to find experts within your
and there's so much. Like for example, I think a good example of that is looking at My League and My GM.
You're not an expert on the servers, by the way.
No, I'm not. But My League and My GM. The interesting thing about that is, you look at a mode like that and where that has come from and expanded to, and now where it's at, right? And people are going bananas about it because there's so much there, and that's really like a labor of love. And what these guys over there build, they honestly, the passion is so infectious. Like it's crazy to go over there and see what they want to do,
definitely.
and what we want to pull off, right? Like we want to raise.
And
the bar
it's that debate too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about it last week with the whole ratings thing, like that back and forth and like being.
It's good.
It is. It's great.
Yeah.
And do we have any questions before we wrap?
Why, yes. Just
Just
one?
one? God, I'm really not that interested then.
They're all doing peak diamonds.
Yeah. When can we hear some presentation news? So,
Good question.
trying to figure out presentation can mean a lot of things. Obviously, audio. We are going to talk about audio eventually.
I do want to say one thing that you and I have both kind of answered one off on Twitter separately. I got a lot of questions about Steve Kerr. I want to talk about that from last year. Last year when Steve Kerr decided to coach the Warriors, I think it was like a month and a half, maybe 2 months before launch.
I think it was even later than it is now.
Yeah,
this year.
It
was right around the same time.
Right, and obviously to rip all that audio out and have re-record all that audio, it's just that's an impossible task, right? Steve Kerr.
It would have been done, and it would have been done so poorly that it was not worth it.
Yeah, so obviously that was a very late. Second thing, got a lot of questions. Is Steve Kerr going to still be doing audio? No, he will be replaced, and we will be talking about that in the near future, I should say.
Yeah.
Not too much future when we're within 30 days of launch. So that last month. So we're going to be covering all that, right? With audio, to your point. And what else can we expect? Because like you mentioned at the top of the podcast, we have the new courts, the 3D
you
courts.
saw the
and all
court
that.
projection stuff. Obviously, you saw probably some things in the crowd. Maybe there's probably a lot more that you're starting to notice.
Yeah.
I mean, things like signs, like the Steph piece. Yeah, the Steph piece had the Steph for MVP. I mean, there's a lot of elements like that. But in terms of the bigger stuff, like what pregame, halftime, all of that stuff looks like, we will get into that soon enough. So. And then what the playoffs look like, what all of the everything will be touched on.
Got a little taste of that in the winning trailer.
So I mean, it's not going to be like its own story per se, but we will address everything that you guys are interested about presentation-wise in the coming weeks. Before I die, maybe we should. Before I die, my voice is leaving me.
I'm going to be out of the office visiting our friends at Cat Daddy tomorrow, which of course do the My NBA 2K app, and it's been really cool to kind of see that grow as well. And we have some big plans for My NBA 2K16. Of course, if you haven't downloaded it, it's free. Definitely download it and get VC tie-ins, right?
Yep.
Who doesn't love free VC?
Who doesn't love free VC?
Tie in there, and they have a great mobile game as well. Their card game is a lot of fun. Actually, it's too addicting. I had to stop playing since it was so addicting.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun, and
it's amazing.
We will continue on without you tomorrow. We have
carry on with.
We have a lot of other assets in the works, so really excited about that. But look out for Pink Diamonds if you guys are interested in that sort of thing. We will have one a day until we run out of guys. Kevin Durant, that was the last chance to get him. So
done.
Hopefully you did. If you were lucky enough to get him, hopefully you did. And we will get through every other guy. Chris or I will probably be tweeting when and which guy to expect every single day, but they will all drop on the NBA 2K Twitter.
Nice massive drops, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like that final send-off for those interested in Peak Diamonds.
Yep.
And you hounds can go and it's like throwing a piece of meat out to a bunch of hungry wolves.
That's right.
But we're gonna make sure that we get these last ones out. We wanted to do that for you, and we got dev approval and stuff, so they were interested in that.
So again, next week's broadcast is actually not on Tuesday, and it's not on this channel either. Chris and I will be in Vegas on Tuesday night. On Wednesday, though, the show, I think it's 12:15, right?
I think that's the time. We'll be tweeting out the time from like the NBA 2K handle.
I'm pretty sure it's noon Pacific time, so 4 hours earlier. But
and that will be on
Wednesday.
Twitch.tv/GameStop.
Yep. And we will be dropping two news on the two legendary
And
teams.
I can also say we'll have some exclusive screens that you haven't seen yet.
Yep. Sounds good.
We'll be showing off a couple things that you might want to tune in for. Pretty cool stuff there.
Cool. So we will see you guys next Wednesday. I'm sure a lot, as this time of year it will happen, a lot more info is going to drop between now and then. And then of course Pink Diamonds on a daily basis between now and whenever we run out. How many Pink Diamonds are there? 9, 10?
It's a lot.
It's 9, right? I think it's 9. So one every day for 9 days. So thanks guys for tuning in. We will see you next Wednesday. Keep it locked until then.
Winning.
Take care. Winning. Winning.